Hello and welcome to Behind the Booth, presented by Nerd Night News. I'm your host, Terry Mayo, and I'll be sitting down today with comic book creator Logan Naugle to talk about his comic book, Serpent Inc. Serpent Inc. takes a novel approach on the superhero genre and is on Kickstarter right now. I'm looking forward to talking with him about anything nerdy and anything comic book related, but first, I want to remind everybody to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and to ring the bell so you don't miss any of the Nerd Night News goodness. All right, let's slither into this conversation with Serpent Inc. creator Logan Naugle. And we are joined today by Logan Naugle, right? I don't want to butcher the name because like I said, I'm bad at that. But thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. This is, of course, the Behind the Booth show, sponsored by Nerd Night News. This is our fourth episode that's going to be coming out this week, and we've been focusing more on Kickstarter books. So,
awesome!
Yours is one of those that we saw, and you were awesome enough to talk to us on social media. So we figured, hey, let's give a spotlight to Logan. So,
I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, first things first, because this show is about your book. Can you kind of give us the rundown on what your book is and what it's about?
Yeah. So the book is Serpent Inc. The Pyramid Scheme. It's a 120-page graphic novel, currently live on Kickstarter. It's the biggest project I've worked on. I've self-published several books myself, from zine size to like a 3-issue arc of a story. And this book it follows Garter Snake, or Garter for short. He kind of got the gig of a lifetime. He works for a snake-themed super team. And it's about his escapades on this team in a world of corporate-sponsored superheroes. And so it's satire, action, comedy. I like to call it's The Boys meets Venture Bros, but not so dark and gritty. It's more light and snarky, which is more my mentality.
Yeah. And that 100% comes through in the art, and then just the way you described it on Kickstarter comes with, I mean, that's a perfect description as Boys meets Venture. But can I ask? So it's a serpent themed superhero group, right? So yes. What was the foundation for that? Where did that idea come from?
So I had done a zine of the I have a one-shot zine of the book, like Serpent Inc., and it follows Garter, and he's kind of a henchman. And I like the idea that this like snake-themed team had henchmen that guard the door, and he's always on the other side of the action. And I'm a huge superhero fan, so of course there's a lot of animal-themed characters, and I thought a team that's not quite hero, not quite villain, snakes felt like the right animal to pick for those.
Just felt right.
It just felt right. And then I was lucky enough to work with Benjamin Mackey, the artist on the book, and he can deliver, with their dot eyes, he can deliver such emotion and like wit that he makes my words look awesome. Yeah.
No, the art, he does an amazing job. Is this the first time working with him, or have you worked with him before?
We did the zine, and then we both loved what we did with the zine, and we were like, let's do a bigger book for these characters, this world, and explore more of those ideas. A lot more snakes. They used to be an anarchy group, like that's the backstory, and now they kind of sold out to the corporate world, and Garter's trying to walk that line of the moral dilemmas and also the ethics and the actual action that happens in this comic book.
Right. Oh my God. It's so if I was reading this right, you and I'm gonna again forget names, but Benjamin, is that his name? Ben?
Yeah.
You guys are co-creating, right? Yeah, he does the art, you do the writing, or do y'all ever collaborate together on the writing process, or how do y'all separate the duties there?
So I say co-creating because the book really came alive when he did the character designs, and then I do the full writing for the script and all the pages, and then we bounce back with editing, and we really collaborate with I'll pitch him, and like I came up with the main characters, and then I'll pitch him other characters, and the designs also influence the attitudes a lot of the time. So it's hugely collaborative because I've been able to bounce so many ideas off of him before permanently putting it on the page.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Well, speaking of relationship, I guess I saw this on the Kickstarter. So there's a designer toy for like $150 tier. But I noticed that the person designing that designer toy is someone named Cynthia Naugle. Any relation?
Yes. Yes. Perfect. That's my wife. She is a toy designer, an artist, and a gallery owner here in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona. And when we were launching the Kickstarter, she's like, I would love to design a toy and I was like, perfect. It's a dream come true to have like a figure of your own characters come to life, something you can manifest. So I'm very lucky that my wife is an amazing artist. So she's doing the toy design for it, which will be like a resin cast toy.
I can't imagine that conversation going any other way except for yes, please. Why? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, when it's her saying yes, she'll do it, versus me having to go like, can you please?
Yeah. I'll do a favor, anything you need.
Yeah.
So you have a diverse cast. You said that from the zine, you kind of threw two things together with Benjamin, and y'all kind of created more and more of these snake characters. As time progresses, it's kind of like picking your favorite child. Do you have a favorite of the supergroup there?
Oh, that's a hard one. Obviously, Garter is like the main character. It's the guy we're following. He's kind of the everyman who is like questioning what's going on, and his sarcasm is very much mine. I've worked many corporate jobs, so a lot of that is my own background in the daily 9-to-5 grind and questioning that. But there's two characters I really like. Pit Viper. They are a non-binary character, but they're I call them a wild card. They bangs and a tail and are a little unhinged. So if you pick them on a mission, you don't know what you're always going to get. And Ben's design for it is just there's so much attitude in every movement with so little words. And then the other one is Bull Snake, who's this cowboy. And he's kind of like a bare knuckle boxer guy, and he kind of talks like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. Yeah. Like that's how we wrote him, and I like his design a lot because he's kind of got this leather jacket, big old bull horns. Even though Bull Snake doesn't look like that.
It's creative,
creative licensing. With
license. Yeah. The one that kind of stuck out to me was Blood Boa. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm weird. But what is the backstory with Blood Boa?
So they are a nihilist and decided, I'm going to join Serpent Inc. because in a world that nothing matters, you might as well be a crazy snake-themed super team and see what can happen with that. So they're this nihilist character who has these tattoos, and it's based off of the red boa. But we added some extra powers where they have neurotoxin tattoos, and they're tactical and can they're going to jump into the room and just own the room. It feels like. Yeah.
They looked very much menacing. I could say. Well, right now you have about 20 days left in the campaign. Is this your first campaign? I don't remember seeing a first one, but is this it? Is this the first one?
Like I said, I've had many corporate jobs, which means I've self-published and self-paid for a lot of my own work with my smaller stories. So this is my first Kickstarter, and Benjamin Mackey has actually he's the artist on a book called Saints from Image with Sean Lewis. Mm-hmm. And then he had done a Kickstarter for a Twin Peaks themed tarot card deck. So he's dived into the campaigning and everything more than I have. But this is my first Kickstarter. As of this recording, we just hit 50% funding in our first 10 days.
Nice.
So I'm very excited by the reception already. And I love seeing that it's multiple people and just getting to be able to share it and spread the word with a million people. Yeah.
That's so cool, right? And Kickstarter has really become one of those extended networking things. I mean, because you meet so many people just by doing this. So,
yeah,
cool.
and I've backed a bunch of projects. A lot of them are comics. Like, I search comics on there a lot because when you do a Kickstarter, you get to own your stuff. You're pre-launching and getting pre-orders basically for a book you really want to happen. And if it gets funded at the end of the day, you get to still own all your IP and everything. In a world where that's ever changing with different companies, it's awesome that whatever comes of this, Ben and I can move forward with our book with our characters, and then hopefully see how it can continue to grow and evolve.
Yeah. Any words of wisdom for someone who's looking to get into Kickstarter?
Yes, I've backed several before. So I was looking at other people's campaigns, the successful ones, unfortunately the ones that don't get funded. I look at those. I look at ones that were like similar, that are in the comedy, and saw what people were offering with tiers. But also, as a creator, I was like, what are the books I like to buy? I like to buy trades and graphic novels and one-offs. So like that's what I was offering. And then I just looked at other tiers. I want to make sure that I was offering something for kind of anyone at any level. Like, you can get the digital copy, and it's a smaller buy-in to invest in these new characters you've never heard of, or the story you've never heard of that just sounds kind of cool. Yeah, there was a bunch of like YouTube videos about preparing. I would say, in hindsight, I wish like a month or two before this, I was even more pre-launch as much as you can get an email list, because everyone said get an email list. I did not get an email list. But as much, and luckily with self-publishing and going to conventions, I had met you actually at a convention many moons ago. It was either Seattle or Rose City. Okay. And we briefly chatted, but I loved your books, and I liked what you were doing, and I started following you way back, like probably 2016-ish. And so I just started following creators, and it is a community that loves each other for the most part. So luckily, like, it's sharing and communicating. But yeah, communicate and look up everything.
Study. You can never do too much studying, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, because Kickstarter really is, I mean, out of everyone I've ever spoke to who's done the Kickstarter, I mean, it can be tedious and it can be daunting and all those things. A lot of sleepless nights where you're looking at your phone, being like, one more backer? One more
refresh.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, the networking that you can do, really, I mean, you can't buy that kind of networking. So it's almost like its own self-contained convention of creators. So it's really cool. And big step. Cool.
The ladder pitch, the kind of elevator pitch is I think it's the toughest thing for any book, or when you see like advanced for the next issue in a comic, like how they pitch that, studying those things, and how do you distill a 120-page story with multiple characters into 2 sentences that captures everything.
Well, since you're putting yourself on the spot, I mean, this show is Behind the Booth. It's called that, just kind of like the virtual convention. If somebody was watching this on YouTube and they came up and they were to pick up Serpent Inc. and ask you, so what is this about? So, Logan, what is your elevator pitch for Serpent Inc.?
I say it's a satire action comedy, so that way you get the genre right out of the bat, and it's following a snake-themed super team in a corporate-sponsored superhero world, and it packs action, and it's the moral and physical dilemmas of being on a super team sponsored by a corporation.
Very cool. Yeah. All right, Logan. Well, thank you very much for coming on. This has been awesome. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I feel like I've learned some stuff from you too, and that's really cool. So thank you very much for coming on Behind the Booth, and I guess I'll see you around, bud.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Seriously, this means a lot. I'll be sure to share all this. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Look at that, you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you know someone that you'd like to see on the show, send us a comment down below so we can make that magic happen. And while you're down there, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. Because why not? And since you're here already, check out some more of these Nerd Night News videos. Enjoy!